Hi guys, so this video we're going to call how to find your lats, and I'm going to talk over the top of me doing this exercise. This is a voiceover that I'm doing post-workout, so you can't actually see me right now, but I'm actually tucking into my fish and rice meal. So if I talk a little bit with my mouth full, then you'll know why that's a bit strange, because I'm just trying to get my post-workout food in. So I'm going to talk through what I did for my activation work in the session today. And this looks fluffy as fuck for me. And it's almost hard for me to kind of post about these kind of things, because I'm like, what are you doing? Remember, I'm the guy that gets his rocks off over 10 plate T-bar rows and 7 plate deadlifts. So this kind of shit is like, yeah, I see this, and when I see other people doing it, I'm like, gay. That's literally, I have that sound in my head when I see people doing it. Where I'll see someone do this kind of shit and I'll look at Corin and just roll my eyes and walk off. And then here I am, lo and behold, doing this stuff. So that kind of gives you some idea that I think that there is actually some merit in it. And I've dropped the ego and the attachment to exercises in an effort to make progression. So what am I doing here in this movement? We need to bear in mind that the lat does not attach to the scapula. That is one of the most important things for you guys to consider when training your lats. Because if you lead with a scapular retraction, which most people do, because they're not actively thinking about what the lats do in terms of their biomechanics, which is totally fair enough, because I didn't for years. So I'm not taking some kind of like moral high ground on people here, because I was the same. It's just that I so happened to probably get strong enough and eat enough and get heavy enough that I just built some lats anyway. Which is probably what's happening with most people, but there's some people who will just have shit lats. And for those of you that really want to build a tremendous back, where you're hitting a lat spread or a rear relaxed pose and you just have that meat hanging underneath your armpit into like your spine, you need to really engage them. And we need to bear in mind that, yeah, the lats do not attach to the scapula. The insertion and origin points are at the base of the humerus, so at the top of the humerus and the base of the spine. So when we think of this exercise where my arms are fully lengthened and I have a slight lean forward, I'm placing the lats under stretch. And then my thought process here is to bring my elbow down. I'm not thinking about retracting my scapula. I'm trying to keep my scapula from moving as little as possible, actually. And I'm driving the elbow down, and I'm bringing the humerus down towards the base of my spine. My humerus being my upper arm. So my upper arm and my elbow is traveling down towards my spine. I'm keeping my chest up and keeping the slight lean forward through the whole motion. Now, once I get the lat as short as I can, you'll feel that point where you've got it really contracted. Now, at that point there, keep driving down as opposed to thinking about, again, scapular retraction. Try to keep that out of your head. We're thinking lat, 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 lat. Now, from that position there, really take a hold of the eccentric and really then think about elongating your arm away from the base of your spine, and try to really feel the tension on your lat as you initiate the eccentric. Now, once you're in that fully stretched position before you initiate the concentric, this is where you need to focus a lot on taking power out. This is where you need to go slow. Okay, this is an activation exercise. You don't need to go fast. You don't need to be powerful. You don't need to move weight. You need to just think driving the lat. That's all the thought process is going on here. Now, I did 4 sets of these today. I did a 12 repper, a 10 repper, an 8 repper, and a 7 repper. Stayed away from failure at all points. Just because it's an activation exercise, I'm not really looking to go to failure on any of these. Just trying to get myself warm, get myself focused, get my lats fired up. Now, moving into the session, this allowed me then to really connect exceptionally well with the lats. Just the only mistake that I said that I made in the session was I then moved into a lat pull down that once I rewatched the videos of, I probably wasn't doing it as well as I could have done. it felt good, but that can be better, which I'm going to rectify in the next session by doing a single arm row first, which kind of replicates the same movement pattern that I've done in the activation exercise. And then obviously once you've really battered your lats in that first movement, it's then kind of easy to stay connected onto them for the second movement that you do. Because in the full session, if you watch that video, I then did a single armed under grip pull down for a triple drop set, and that absolutely smashed my lats because I was already really fully engaged with them. They were pumped. So then I'm going to move the pull down to after the row. That makes a lot more sense. So with this, guys and girls, I want you to start every single lat focus session with this exercise, which really I think should actually be every single back session, because if we're training the upper back, we can do that through bent over rows, or more importantly, like pulls. So and they can be either on a separate day, or they can be at the end of a session. So you're still going to have enough oomph to be able to do a pull from a rack. So I would really favour everyone starting with these, and I'm actually going to try to increase my frequency on my lats as well. So if I have like a push day 2 days ago, like I did, and you'll see this in the video, guys, the last push session I did, I actually chucked this activation work in the session. So if I have like a push day on a Friday and I have a pull day on a Sunday where I have like 2 sleeps before I do pull, I'm just going to do 2 or 3 sets of this lat activation work in the push session, just to stay on top of my lats. Like to me, there are certain things in bodybuilding that I really want. And there's that picture I've put up of Dorian where he's standing there and it's a rear shot, and everything is just like crazy thick and round. Like his lats start from his spine and they go up under his arms, and it looks like he's got carpets under his arms, and he's just this huge silhouette of just dense craziness. And I think that if you master the heavy loading and the heavy deadlifting, and then you master the connecting with your lats and hypertrophying your lats in this fashion, you're going to be able to build that look. So that's why I'm really obsessive over the lat work at the moment, because I want next year when I turn around for it to be like, whoa, because that's bodybuilding to me. That's like the freakiness that I'm aspiring to. So if I can work out a way to get my lats to grow even more, then that's what we're going to roll with. So someone asked me in the gym in this session, like, how do I feel about the drop in loading? Which is, again, it's a question I'm getting tons. Now, realistically, I'm not dropping the loading because I'm not doing the same exercises. Like I did a pull down today and that was the same exercise and the loading didn't drop. That was the same loading. When I did the single arm row, obviously the loading changes because the way in which I'm lifting is different, so it's not the same exercise. When you place tension on certain muscles correctly, they're nowhere near as strong as you think they are. So the loading is only representative of the manner in which you execute a movement. So really, there's no less muscle activation. There's probably actually a lot more. No, in fact, there is a lot more muscle activation by lifting in this manner. So yeah, the loading in terms of what you're gripping from an external perspective is less, but the internal stimulus is way higher. So your ability to grow these muscles is way higher. Like I can feel that from the work that I'm doing. And you guys will see it next weekend when Corin competes, because her lower lats have come up tremendously in just 8 weeks. So get this idea out of your head that the loading's dropping, because it's not dropping. It's just different movements. And you're placing your body in somewhat mechanically disadvantageous positions to contract properly. Because remember, our body tries to be efficient. So when you're doing pull downs as heavy as you can, it will pick the easiest plane, it will recruit as many muscles as possible. That's efficiency, but that's not maximum hypertrophy of a specific muscle. So when we think, right, I'm just going to nail the lat, we're thinking, right, I'm going to take the scapula out, I'm going to drive my elbow down, and I'm going to make sure that I have perfect tension on the muscle. That's inefficiency in regards to that movement, but it's maximum efficiency in regards to muscular tension. And that's what we need to think about. And then once that's all said and done, the premise of progressive overload still holds true. But what you'll notice is that you have to microload, that's all. The progressions won't come at the same rate, because the tension that you can place on the muscle is so much less. Sorry, the load that the muscle can handle is so much less when you place the tension correctly. So then the external load in terms of incremental progressions has to be replicative of that. So it has to be microloading. So invest in some 0.5 kg plates, microload, microload, microload. And at the end of the year, if you can do like 10 kgs more with no change to form, I promise you that the tension that you would have placed on that muscle by the end of the year would have seen huge changes in hypertrophy. So I hope this is a helpful video for you guys. I need to give props to Joe Bennett again for this one, because this is one of his exercises. So if you don't follow Joe on Instagram, he's the hypertrophy coach on there, and he's one of the guys that I'll be formulating stuff with for Redcon. Joe has a phenomenal mind, very, very, very intelligent guy, and a very, very nice guy too, which is important as well, because I think that when you're looking to learn from someone, no one really likes learning from someone that's an egotistical dickhead. So Joe is absolutely brilliant in that respect. I have a lot of time and respect for him. So follow his stuff, and you'll pick up some more gems like this one, because that's where I picked this one up from, guys. And then obviously ran through it today, and then I'm sharing it with you and sharing my thought processes on it and how I think we can all utilize stuff like this to build some bigger lats. So hopefully you can find your lats better with this. Cheers.